Whew. Yeah, I have to take a brief moment at the top of each rep. It is actually quite taxing. Lats, then from the lats into the rear delts. And if I tuck my stomach in, it gives me more room to bend forward. So today, I'm at the gym. So I got my 25-pound steel mace delivered today, if you guys have been following along. So right like before this morning, the heaviest steel mace that I had was a 15-pound one, and that's what I would use in most of my previous videos. Except in the first I was using 7 pounds, then once I got comfortable with the 7 pounds I started using the 15 pound, and then started moving between the 15 and 7 pound, and then the 7 pound became too light, so I just started using the 15 pound, and then I bought the 25 pound to I guess progressively overload. So once it came, I swang it around for a bit, but didn't really do anything too structured. Did about 10 to 15 minutes of swings, just regular steel mace 360s, and then came to the gym. At the gym, I walked backwards for 30 minutes and also warmed up my shoulders a little on a single arm lat pull down machine. In any case, today is a mobility kind of day. It feels like the workouts from the past 3 days have kind of like I wasn't unmotivated to come to the gym, but my body in itself seemed fatigued to where it didn't want to move around too much weight. It didn't want to experience anything too heavy, nor did it want to do anything like sprints or the sled or any kind of kettlebell complexes. Nothing that got the heart rate too high or anything, or at least that's what it felt like my body was telling me, and I believe that to be true. So on days like this, it feels good to do some mobility work, because mobility is still a very critical aspect of fitness that goes or underworked in my opinion, and I like to have good dedicated time. Plus it gives me a workout to where I can perform movements slowly, and the return on investment, I think, for doing mobility stuff is very high. Especially like the stretch strength kind of exercises that I'm going to do today. I think doing this kind of stuff has been very key in keeping my joints healthy and preserving range of motion and stuff for as long as it has. But enough of a rant. I don't want to hog the machine. Let me just move into the first exercise. I'll talk more later. So, starting off with the cable good mornings. This is probably one of the exercises that appears the most often in my videos, just overall, and in mobility case, definitely the one that appears the most. It's my favorite mobility exercise. It feels like it loosens up the posterior chain really well and has given me a lot of mobility gains as I've gotten stronger at it. So, holding the cable out and spreading my legs wide till I feel like a light stretch in the groin area. And so this is kind of the starting position. Then I'm going to slowly let the weight pull me forward. And as it pulls me forward, the stretch in the groin intensifies. Then it starts radiating into the full hamstring. And then from the hamstring, it starts going into the lower back, glutes, and lats. Then from the lats into the rear delts. And if I tuck my stomach in, it gives me more room to bend forward. And once I hit sort of a threshold, I come up. Some of the things I noticed with my body is the right side has some imbalances, as a result of which it pulls differently than on the left side. And the way I'm able to even that out is by kind of keeping my neck slightly up, which I didn't really do on the first rep. But by keeping it up, it keeps the neck muscle fibers a little stretched, which seems to help even things out, for me at least. And so the reason I mention that is every body is kind of unique and is built through whatever it has experienced. And so you might find that when you do it, you'll have your own kind of sensations that you'll have to rectify. And so once you get the general gist of the movement, start playing around with little tweaks to kind of rectify your imbalances, if you have any. Personally, I have to focus on keeping my neck up and a little to the left, like that, and also retract my right shoulder blade. Going for just 5 reps. In yesterday's video, I was talking about mobility and stuff. So what I was saying was, people think that mobility is something that you just end up losing with age, or are born with it, or born with a high mobility capacity or whatever. Personally, what I think actually happens is, over time, your body tries to set itself in a way, like, for whatever it's doing. So if you're someone who does just bodybuilding work or whatever, well, I don't know, saying bodybuilding work is too generalizing, because a lot of stuff can be bodybuilding work. Pretty much, people have a bad habit where they do things through limited ranges of motion and don't take things through the full stretch. What ends up happening is the body becomes strong in that limited range of motion, and then in the deeper ranges of motion, so with the chest press, most people stop at 90 and go here and go up. So anytime or with squats, it would be stopping at 90 degrees or even just below 90 degrees, when you can go so much deeper. So what ends up happening is your body or the muscles become really strong in that limited range of motion, and then it doesn't get, and then there's like some extra room at the ends of the movement that it could be stronger at. And what ends up happening is the muscles become strong relative to in the limited range of motion, but not so much in the extremities. And so as a result, your body consciously develops this habit of restricting you from those deeper ranges of motion, which is what ends up becoming a lack of mobility or tightness and stuff, in my opinion. Uh, and the way to get out of that is to not stretch, because in stretching there's no resistance component. You're not becoming stronger at the extremities, you're just introducing your body to the extremities. The strength difference is still exists, to where you're getting super strong. Like for example, if you take a deadlift and your range of motion is limited to where the plate touches the floor, you never really stretch to the toes or past the toes. So even if you keep stretching to where you're able to kind of touch the toes and hold it, sort of, that strength discrepancy is still not accounted for. And so what ends up happening is the mobility gains are short-lived from just stretching. However, if you do a stretch strength exercise like the one I just did, the cable good mornings, you end up making your body strong in that stretched position as well, which seems to give quicker and more longer lasting mobility gains, as opposed to just stretching and holding a stretch or something like that. That being said, stretching in itself isn't bad or anything. If you have nothing else, I guess it's probably something you can do. But if you have, as far as trying to get good mobility gains that last, I think doing stretch strength exercises like this one and the other ones that I'm going to do today is probably what's good. It's probably what's better, actually. So yeah, gonna do this was my third set. Gonna do it for like 5-6 sets, and then on to the next thing. All right. So for the next mobility movement, doing piriformis stretch. So most people do something called a pigeon. Why did I say it like that? A pigeon stretch. I think the pigeon and piriformis stretch are the same thing. At least I think they are. Sometimes people have weird naming conventions, but that's a conversation for later. So the pigeon stretch usually is where you have one leg folded kind of like at this angle, and the other leg is outstretched. So usually one way of doing it is you'd have it on an inclined bench, and then you'd kind of lean forward while the other leg is on the floor. Here I'm doing pretty much the same setup as the cable good morning, but instead of having my legs wide, I'm having one leg straight and then the other leg bent. What this does is it stretches the piriformis, which is the side of the glute, which is kind of attached to the lower back and hamstrings, and keeping it like this engages that muscle, or keeps it like in a stretched position, and then in that position when you lean forward it further exaggerates the stretch. So that's my goal with this, and pretty much the same cue as the previous exercise, where I'm letting the weight slowly pull me forward and I'm trying to experience the stretch in that area, but at the same time I'll also feel a stretch in the hamstring of the right leg, or the outstretched leg. And so yeah, it's not a piriformis exclusive stretch or exercise. So pretty much going to go 5 each side and let myself get pulled forward. There's something about these mobility exercises that almost have an intoxicating effect, where it just makes me feel like really calm and loose. Yeah, there's something about mobility exercises that has a very calming feeling. And this plus the sauna after is going to feel pretty good and relaxing. It's like you have to go through this pain of like get feeling the muscles getting stretched, but then at the end of it, there's almost a relaxing feeling to it. It's also a good way of noticing how one side has imbalances versus the other. I keep bringing that point up because every time I do it, I feel a difference. Anytime I do any mobility exercise, I feel differences between the left and right sides of my body. I don't think things will ever be 100% even, but I think it's possible to get pretty close. So yeah, I'm gonna do this for a bit. Random thought. There's another thing about like the mobility workout is I'm not supersetting stuff, and I'm just able to go slow and kind of experience the weight and the stretch. Um, yeah, so with all my workouts being kind of circuity and supersety, um, doing something that's not supersetted and I can just kind of experience it slowly, calmly while listening to like smooth music. It's definitely welcome when there's a lot of, when most of my workouts are intense. In any case, yeah, I'm gonna do this and then on to something else. So for the next exercise, doing reverse Nordics. So my quads are kind of sore from yesterday's sprints, and also I think a lot of the movements in the past couple of days have had a squat involvement to it. And so just in general, my quads are a little sore, so it feels like my mobility isn't as good with my quads today. In any case, reverse Nordics is a good mobility exercise for the quads, and it looks like this. Having my knees on the mat, contracting my glutes. I don't know if my head's out of frame. It very well could be. And leaning back. going for uh, 4 to 5 each side, or 4 to 5. I don't know, I'm so used to saying each side because I do a lot of unilateral work. Yeah, I have to take a brief moment at the top of each rep. It is actually quite taxing. In any case, that last rep wasn't the best. So yeah, gonna do that for 3 sets, and then on to upper body mobility exercise, and that's probably gonna be it for today. So ending off the workout with cross bench pullovers, using the Bosu ball to maintain a more natural curved position as opposed to a real bench. But if all you have is access to a bench, then that's what you gotta do. So using a single kettlebell in each hand so that I can individually focus on one arm at a time. I find that when I do both arms pull over, the imbalance between the left and the right side is not accounted for. So pretty much going all the way back, feeling a stretch in the serratus, and coming up, and repeat on the other hand. I'm gonna do this for 8 to 10 each side. See, with the serratus, I feel like my left side is a little tighter than the right side. Wow. The reason I said wow is there's something about like a really good mobility session when you like really connect with your muscles and just like kind of loosen everything out, especially after like a tough week or an intense week of lifting, that it almost seems to, I don't know, realign the body just a little, or it almost feels like I don't know, like your anatomy changes a little. Like yeah, I feel like everything is kind of realigning or whatever. I don't know, like a good, I guess, analogy I can give is you can keep driving your car, and then the checking date comes, and then you take it to whatever, like your mechanic or whatever, and then they do a check and they're like, oh, there's a slight thing over here and an oil change required over there, yada yada yada. But it's not stuff that you realize till You take it to the mechanic. The car still runs. You don't really notice a problem with it. But then the mechanic tells you, oh, there's these few things out of whack. And then once you get it fixed, you realize, holy shit, the car's running much better than it was. That's kind of what mobility sessions are. Like, if you kind of ignore mobility, you can still do a lot of stuff. But once you do mobility, you start realizing, oh, the vehicle can run a lot better than it uh, has been, and all it needed was some regular upkeep. At least that's one way of thinking about it. In any case, going to do this for a bit, then sauna. I'm not going to do any like outdoor posing today. So yeah, this will be it for today's video. A nice little, it still took me 2 hours to do because I did everything slow and controlled, plus 40 minutes of warm-up. So yeah, that's all for today's video. See you all tomorrow.